Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Shaikh Ashfaq from team IUTB-0108. My other team members are Mr. Shahriar Alam, Mr. Hussein Arifur Rahman, and Mr. Muhammad Mainur Rashid. So we are here to solve the case of Mr. Jim and his company that produces contact lenses. So let's go to the case scenario now. The case scenario is such that Mr. Jim, who is from the operations department, he is just right back from a board meeting, and there he was personally under attack. What happened there? There, Mr. Allen, who is from the sales department, he was very much boast of his 95% accurate sales forecast that was made based upon the business revenue level. And then he also stated that the service level has lowered from 85% to 80% within the last year. And then Deb, who is from the finance department, she said that the inventory is always rising. It was a complaint from her. And then Alan, he actually didn't give any information to Mr. Jim about how much he wants to sell in a particular month. So actually Jim, he couldn't use his so-called class A ERP system. So it was just of no use there. Now as the service level was lowering, so Mr. Jim, he proposed for having some safety stock inventory, but there Larry didn't just care. Larry was the president of the team and he just didn't care. And then Deb, she was just laughing out loud because there is always a high inventory stored. Now Jim is under big trouble now, and he's now thinking of quitting the job. So should he really do that? Let's see. Now let's come to the real life scenario. The real life scenario is such that the company Jim works for is a leading company, and leading company is in this business, and they follow a very simple procedure of production. Even though they follow a very simple procedure, there is always some scope for some error, and the error is like, suppose the company intends to produce a lens of -3.00 diopter, they might end up finishing it with a 2.75 or 3.25 diopter. So actually, if until and unless they test the products for the final time, they cannot be sure what's the product. So it makes some difficulties in the process of batching. When they make a batch for the delivery, they face some difficulties for this reason. And then there is also a difficulty for the operation team. They face the difficulty in deciding what to do and when to do, because there has been a drastic change in the last 3 years in the product mix. And there is also a big problem, that is there is always too much big inventory, too much high inventory in the finished products. So that will expire within 6 months actually. So Jim, he proposes Mr. Allen to sell those products in a relatively cheaper price, but Deb, she opposes because it will cause a loss for the company. Now we are here to help Jim and his company. So under these situations, we have sorted out some problems. Let's look at the problems now. The problems are increasing inventory resulting disrupted cash flow, then declination in customer service, and finally the product mix in the same batch. So I would like to invite Mr. Shahriar Alam for discussing the problems and their solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaikh. Now I'll be discussing about inventory. Increasing inventory resulting in disrupted cash flow. Well, it is a major problem. Now, what is the reason behind this? Now, first one is not forecasting on SKU basis. Second one is minimal utilization of air. Well, sales is not forecasting on basis of their SKU. That's why if they had done that, but information doesn't flow through the system. So the ERP system is not running efficiently, as there is no information about which product is to be made and which SKU is more demanding and which one is less. And also, inventory doesn't give the information properly that which product is in their stock and which product is not. So Jim cannot be sure which product they are going to produce. That's why he is producing both the SKUs, and more demanding SKU is being sold at bulk, but the less demanding SKU is not sold. So it is adding up to the inventory. Now, another reason is unwanted variation in products. Well, the company produces -3 diopter lens, but there have been some error. That's why they are producing -2.75 or 2.5. Well, these are also adding up to the inventory as they cannot sell it or scrap it. Now, we are going to the solutions. What we can do now? The first one is putting it on a sale. Well, Dave is right on her statement, but if we don't put it on sale, then what will be the damage? The startup, the fund will be stacked up. There will be space problem, and also the product may be damaged or may be expired within very few days. Now, the thing is, business runs on finance method, not accounting method, and the main thing of finance method is cash flow. Now, if we put our items, the less demanding items on sale, then they can get the market, and there will be cash flow. Also, the fund will not be stacked. There will be no space problem also, and the product will not be obsolete. And also, we can sell that in very less time. And the thing is, we can suggest one thing that that doesn't clash between accounting and finance method. That is, we can put that more demanding items. We can raise the price of more demanding items a bit higher, and the less demanding items price will be on sale. So both the situation will be balanced, and both accounting and finance will have no problem with that. Well, now there will be maybe a problem, that is, the company may lose some demand of customer, but not as our company is based in their business, so they have many loyal customers, so there will be no problem with the demand. Now, some solutions are SKU based forecasting, proper utilization of ERP. Well, these are for the future. Well, if we do this, then we all know what will happen. If there is proper flow of information through the chain, then well, team can produce according to the demand of the customer. Now, another is selling byproducts. Well, there are some products like -2.75, 2.50. We can make a batch, like a suitable amount of 2.75 a batch, and the rest are other batch. So we can sell them in the market. Also. Well, that's my solution about inventory, increasing inventory, resulting cash flow. Now, the rest will be described by Hussain Arifur Rahman. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I will be describing the declination of customer service. Now, there are very few reasons behind this problem. We will be discussing the major ones. Our first reason is inappropriate forecasting. We already know that L&D is forecasting based on a sales revenue level. This might help the company to determine their future strategies, but it won't help the production to assume a suitable rate. Now, our second problem is less responsiveness. Less responsiveness is due to the increased lead time, and that less responsiveness is due to the increased lead time that is found in the process. Now we will be describing the solutions. Our first solution is forecasting based on SKUs. Now, my previous speaker has already told you many things about this, so I don't think I need to describe more, but the benefit that we get from forecasting based on SKU is the production will be able to know where to product how many products in every week on an average. Now, our second solution is improved process management. This will help to reduce the lead time. Now here, say for example, we have an order of per 400. Now we have to deliver each order between 7 days. Here we can see that per 400 needs 7 days before we completing from part 200. So if we have enough part 200 in our inventory, then then we will face no problem for delivering. But the fact is, we don't know how much part 200 that we need to produce at a time, and we cannot say that we can keep the part 200 all the time in our inventory, because we are reducing part 200 from our bill of material. Now we need to keep part 500, part 50 and part 100 as our safety inventory. So we will start making part 200 in advance before receiving the order. Then the amount of part 200 that are to be made will be decided by the forecasting team. Our third problem is product mix in same batch. This is just only due to faulty production system, because we are using microwaves in production of other contact lenses. But the problem with microwave is a human concern. The microwave is a human operated machine. So while human operated machines are being used, there is a large chance of getting variation in products. So there is actually no actual solution of this problem. We can only say that introduction of advanced methodology is the only way for sustaining this problem. Now the rest of the presentation will be done by my fellow teammate, Rashid. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and apart from addressing some problems and the solution of it, we would like to recommend and some issues, so that gym or for which organizations it worked first does not find themselves in the same loop again in the future. And gym can put those issues on the next division board meetings also. The first thing we like to recommend is that the implementation of supply chain practice in the organizations. This is one of the most important thing to mention, that for the organization for which gym works for, disregarded the practice of supply chain. Aggregated planning, which is one of the vital issue of setting the strategy, is missing. Although they are having the board meetings, they are unaware of each other's objectives, and they are not sharing or exchanging informations about the situations constantly. So this aggregated planning will help to determine the product time and the quantity of product in the intermediate future. And the next thing, and other tools, supply chain tools like MRP, MPS, EDI, lean manufacturing will be a great tool to shape the supply chain process. The next thing we like to recommend is prioritizing on ERP systems. An organization should put more focus on its strength, and the organizations having a class A rated ERP system should get more attention. The LN or the other organizing bodies should not neglect this part, and to keep this ERP system live and effective, constant feed of information should be get as the input in the ERP system. And the next thing we like to propose is this: go for more innovative manufacturing process. You know, the manufacturing process is error prone, and to replace the current manufacturing process with a more innovative and better process can be the solution. In this here, the cast molding can be a perfect tool, perfect options for that. But the manufacturer might not always be that much confidence to go for a new manufacturing process, to change this current one. And if that is so, then they should need to invest more on its R&D. And if the manufacturer sticks with its previous manufacturing process, then they need to sell the variation in a batch and to maintain the cash flow and keep the inventory low. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.